Well, he really needs no introduction, but I'm talking to the legendary vocalist John Bush. Good morning, John. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. Thanks for joining me this morning. You're in California, so it's morning for you too as well, right?
It is. I'm having my first cup of coffee. That's a pretty large one.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Oh, you got the brush stickers. This is the LA Kings.
Alaska thing is putting stickers of your favorite things on your water bottles.
There you go. So here's to you.
Cheers. So while John's taking a drink, you know him as the frontman for Armored Saint, a band he started when he was very young with some childhood friends. He also did an incredibly long stint in Anthrax. These days, he seems to be doing a little bit of everything. He's got a new Armored Saint cover song that's on rock and metal stations across the country right now. And he's got a new album with a new band starting on Friday. So let's start at the beginning. How did you do a cover with Armored Saint? How did it come about to do a cover of One Chain?
Well, we wanted something out there to keep the vibe about Saint out there. We did the Queensryche tour that we just finished about a month back. We did that for about 8 weeks. And, it's just important to have something out there so people don't forget about you. Joey Vera had this idea of doing this cover song. We've always been big fans of old school soul and R&B as much as heavy rock and metal and stuff were influencing our views on music. So was that kind of stuff. So as much as we would listen to, bands like UFO and the Scorpions and Judas Priest and Black Sabbath, we were listening to Earth, Wind and Fire and the Commodores and Stevie Wonder and stuff like the Four Tops and the Gap Band. We loved all that stuff too. And it really did have an impact on I think our style. So we always kind of had that bluesy element, even though we were a metal band, of course. So the idea was to do it. He had this other idea of putting us all in these suits, so we kind of pay homage to the great bands of that day. The Temptations, Four Tops. A little fun, something different from what we normally wear. So we did this video and put out the song, and it's rocking. It's great. It's really kind of in the wheelhouse of what we can do with Armored Saint.
I got to say, when I got it, it wasn't what I expected, and I put it on, and I've got other guys in the office. We're going, this is really good, guys, isn't it? It's really, and the video's great, the song is great, so nice, and it's catching fire, it appears.
We can only hope. You do something, you hope everyone digs it. Sometimes it's a head scratcher for maybe the average Saint fan when we do things like this, but we like to keep people on their toes. We don't want to just be providing the obvious always, and I dig it. I think it sounds great. So, we got to try it on stage in Europe a few times here. We're about ready to leave on tour, and we should perform it there and see how the Germans react. That'll be a true test.
Right. I, by the way, met Joey a few years ago. It was on a Queensryche tour. I was backstage to interview Queensryche, and Joey and Ray, it was, his other band, one of his other bands. And I walked up to him, had a great conversation, took a great picture. He's a really nice guy.
Joey's like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I mean, he's just an incredible person. Very, very talented, has the ability to be an engineer, songwriter. He's basically the band's manager for the most part, and has been for years. Other than we have a new management company now, but Joey, he still holds on. He's tight on those reins. But he's amazing. He's an amazing human being, and I've known him since I was probably about 9 years old. So
when you can stay friends that long, it's real.
It is. I mean, it's basically been 50 years, which is just astonishing, really, when you think about it.
Now, you've got a new album dropping on Friday, July 26th from Category 7. How did you get together with Mike Orlando and the rest of these guys?
Yeah, well, this is kind of a new development, obviously. Mike and Phil kind of had this idea of putting this musical thing together with Jason Bittner as well, the drummer. And they started working on some tunes, and then they contacted me, and I said, well, send it to me. Let me see what it sounds like. And Phil and I kind of have a little bit of a relationship from doing some stuff with Metal Allegiance, and we even did the Rock in Rio show together, which was pretty spectacular there in Brazil. Mm-hmm. We developed a friendship, and he contacted me, and I said, like I said, send it to me and let me see what I could do and see if I could contribute and if it seems appropriate for me to be part of it. And we kind of wrote a couple songs, and I was like, wow, that's really good. Let's work on some other stuff. And we wrote a couple more. And next thing we know, it's like, well, we have enough for a record, and it sounds pretty awesome. So why don't we just put it out there, see what people think?
Now, you've been in the business quite a long time. It's a lot different these days. I mean, you already have 3 videos for an album that's not even out yet.
I know, it's crazy. And we made 5, actually.
5?
Yeah, we made 5. The last same record, we made 4. Videos, it's funny because people are like, well, MTV's not playing videos, and they haven't for years. But this is another form of getting your song across. Obviously, YouTube is a huge an area to promote yourself. And, it's fun to make videos, and you can make them for a fraction of the cost of what you used to have to make them.
Right.
Which is great. That's one beautiful thing about technology. There's a few things, but that's one amazing thing, is that you can make these videos for very low amounts of money, and they look amazing. And so why not? Why not make them, put them out there, and kind of release one every month, which is what we've done for Category 7. We put out 3 songs so far, and the record comes out, like you said, Friday. And, there's a pretty big buzz about it. We'll see what happens. I kind of always, my approach to everything is always a little cautionary. It's just, the music business is just like, bow, it's all me. So I kind of, my approach to things is put it out, let people, see what they think. Don't have too high of expectations, keep everything kind of in check. And, then maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. But there is a great vibe on it. And I think the songs they're pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if you look at comments on YouTube, but everybody seems to love it.
I periodically do. I don't get too caught up in the pros or the cons,
right?
Because everyone's a critic these days, and I don't. A good friend of mine, rest in peace, Andy Waterland, is a good buddy of mine. He passed away now almost 20 years ago, but we were very close, and he told me, don't read your own press clippings, and I was like, okay. And I think it's good advice, because you don't want to get caught up in that. I always say, if somebody, because for every 10 positive ones, you'll get 2 slamming you.
Yeah.
And what I've been telling people is that I don't care if somebody slams it, just you got to be funny about it. You're going to be, you're going to be
creative.
You're going to write something really negative about me. You can't just say he sucks. You got to be more creative than that.
Well, you're known as one of the most consistent vocalists in all of rock and metal. What do you do to keep your voice in shape? Because a lot of aging rock stars are having to pitch things down or get some help, and you just seem to be the real deal, John.
Well, I made some adjustments. I mean, we've made some, we've always tuned to E flat. We always did that anyway, even back in the day. So when my voice was much higher and younger man. I think it's really about just kind of staying, working at it, just kind of it's a muscle, and you got to just kind of keep singing all the time. And I think that's when I'm best. The last couple of days, I was out in Las Vegas. My son plays hockey, and he had a hockey tournament. So there was probably a lot of drinking that was taking place. So I'm trying to kind of unwind from that a little bit, because that's, not the best thing for your voice. Although, I'm always kind of scratchy, so it just kind of adds to it. But again, I really take singing very seriously. And when I can't sing well, I get real depressed and very frustrated, and I'm not a very pleasant person to be around. And because that's, really that is the primary objective for me at this point. I've done it all, and it's just all about going out there and kicking butt. So, if I have a bad night, I get really down, and I try to avoid that. So, but yeah, I think I'm pretty fortunate. I've still been able to belt it out even to this day, and I'm gonna be 60, which I can't even believe it. So, Let's keep on trucking.
It's the new 40, they say.
That's right.
Now, you just said Armored Saint is getting ready to go back out on the road in Europe? Yeah,
we're leaving on Wednesday, and our first show is outside of Hamburg, Germany. It's a festival called the Headbangers Ball Fest. It's a smaller one, but it's still pretty known to some people in Europe and Germany. And then we began doing a bunch of other stuff. We basically are doing like some headlining shows coupled with some shows at festivals. We're playing Wacken, which is a huge festival in Germany, and a lot of people know about it. festival called Brutal Assault, which is in the Czech Republic, and we're doing some shows in Britain. So it's going to be fun. It's it's like I said, it's always going to Europe is a great time. We haven't been there since prior to COVID happening. That was 2019. We actually did a tour then with Metal Church and with Mike Howe, who was a good friend of ours, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. But it was an amazing tour, and he great singer, and I miss Mike. He was an awesome guy, and it's a big drag. But we haven't been there since then, and we're eager to go. And Europe's awesome. It's tailor made for Armored Saint sound. Like I think sometimes I love LA, and of course I'm proud of being from Los Angeles, but I wouldn't, to me sometimes we sound like a band that we're from England. That's all those bands had such an inspiration to us, and whether it's Sabbath, Zeppelin, Thin Lizzy, and UFO, like I said, and it's countless others, Maiden, Priest, and I would love Aerosmith and Ted Nugent, and
sure,
those bands are amazing too in the States. But those British bands really had a big impact on us.
It's funny, I was going to say, one of the radio stations you're on is a streaming station that's been around for over 12 years. And I found once I put that on, this worldwide audience, that the folks in Europe never gave up on rock and metal like some folks in the United States did. Do you find that to be true?
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes you look at a festival in Germany and you laugh and go, what year is this?
I know, right?
But they're just diehards. You'll still see all the denim vests. I mean, you see that now in the States as well.
Sure.
But they take metal very seriously. Not that people in the U.S. do not, but because of course they do. But it's just it's a part of their culture, a lot of it, and part of their lifestyle, and they love it. And you better be consistent, or otherwise they'll let you have it. And so that I think if we can make it happen in Europe, then we've done pretty well. And Armored Saint actually kind of got a raw deal because we actually didn't go to tour in Europe until about 7 years after our first record came out. So March of the Saint came out in 1984, and while everybody was going there, and we were on magazine covers and getting write-ups everywhere, for whatever reason, and I won't go into too much detail, but basically there was a collective decision, not by the band, to not go and to concentrate on the States. And we did tour the States numerous times, and we were happy to do so. But to not go to Europe, we really kind of were set back. And, we like I said, we kind of have a European sound. So that was very frustrating. And there's not a lot of things that I regret in my career, because why? What's the point? But that one still irks me a little bit.
One of those little things.
Little things.
Now, you and your wife have 2 children. You mentioned one plays hockey. Do either of them do music?
Nah, neither one really got that. I mean, my son plays a little bit of drums, and we were into it to push him to do it. And he just kind of got into hockey, and then that became more of his passion, which, of course, all I care about is that you're passionate about something. My daughter took some piano lessons and just really didn't gravitate to it. But they love a lot of music. They're very creative. My daughter's going to college now in Ohio, and I love my kids very dearly. As a matter of fact, it was one of the reasons I didn't tour for a while, because I didn't want to miss out on their upbringing, and it was real important to me. So I just think you can't get time back. And so now they're older. I mean, like I said, my daughter's 19, my son's 17 now, and sometimes they just kind of, they don't really have a lot to do with dad, which is okay.
They're at that age.
Yeah, but we still talk, and when we do have conversations, they become good ones. But they're great. I'm proud of my family. I love them to death, and they've been to Europe with me. I mean, my kids have been on the tour bus many times when they were younger. In Europe, they went to Australia, they went to Japan, they've been all over. So they have done a lot of things. And my son actually came on stage with me numerous times when he was like 4 years old, playing at that point, it was like a plastic guitar, but he did sing with me. And, he played like the Alcatraz Festival, which is where we're going to play again in a couple of weeks. And he played that back, I don't even remember now. But he was on stage, and it was like, 20,000 people out there.
And you probably have pictures of that, and he's like, I was a kid.
Yeah, he just is like, whatever.
One day he'll want that picture, though.
Oh, yeah. So it's, he has some cool memories, and both my kids do. So it's awesome.
So you have some acting experience back in your career, like a Huey Lewis video. Do you ever think about doing more acting?
I did a lot of voiceover work, which was really fun.
Yeah, you did video games too. So,
for a period of time, I was actually the voice of Burger King. So I was like one of the guys who did like the tag voices. This was probably around '07, '08, somewhere around there. It was a really fun job. It was very lucrative. Yeah, it's great. And so, and my wife is actually a casting director, and so she casts commercials, and I help her do that actually. And so we're part of that entertainment world, and it's fun. I dig it. It's kind of, there's a lot of parallels to the music business. So I dig anything part of it, and learning about that particular world to me is great because I love acting, and I'm not an actor, but I do love the world of acting and movies and TV. And, like I said, there's just a lot of parallels to being in the music business and voiceover as well, because it's me using my voice. So it's very competitive these days.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of you've got a great voice. I'm sure you've done some VO work, and, a lot of big time actors are doing it. So, they just kind of squash the little guy, but, they can go do a couple of hours of their VO tracks and stuff, and go in their sweatpants and make big money, and then they're done for the day. So I get it.
Yeah, I wish I was in that level, but no.
It's hard. It's hard,
know,
but
right?
I take it for what it's worth, and I still dig it, and I like it. Yeah, I dig doing VO, and I wish I had more work, to be honest.
Yeah, you like that kind of stuff that much? I
do. It's cool. I dig doing VO stuff, and like I said, to me it's another way of using my voice, and video games are great, and commercials. I mean, there was obviously for a while people always like, oh, commercials, but we would miss them if they were gone. And they're as long as they're creative, I dig them. I think they're fun.
I think more people watch the Super Bowl for commercials these days. I mean, they're so creative and interesting.
Exactly. So, sometimes people get annoyed when they pop up, but, like I said, I think it would be a world that we'd really miss them if they weren't here.
So what's next? Are you going to be touring with Category 7? I hate to jump to something else, but...
Well, I think we want to do some shows. I mean, the record, like I said, just comes out Friday. So there's talk about doing some stuff. Everybody.
And you've got an Armored Saint thing planned, so you have to wait for that to be over.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Category 7 people would like to hear some of those songs live because they are pretty ferocious, and I want to hear them live. So we have some tentative plans. I think a lot of it will be generated by the enthusiasm of the record, and we'll see what comes from there. So.
Speaking of the record, I just got it today, so I haven't listened to the whole thing. I just saw the videos. But what are like your favorite songs on the record?
I dig them all. I mean, there's even an instrumental song that where these guys just show off their incredible abilities, and
where they just shred.
Yeah, they're shredders. Everybody, all four of them. And then I try to shred with them vocally, not shred too much, but the songs are just they're very powerful. There's rhythm mania, but there is cool song structure. So there's a lot of hooks with the riffs and the vocals, and so you got this really heavy material, but you have stuff that is singable at the same time, which is something I always strive to do because I'm rooted in pop music. I really am. Like my favorite bands growing up were The Sweet and Chicago and Elton John and. As much, again, back to that, we've always been listening to lots of different music. And I think that's really imperative for young musicians today. Don't just get caught up in only playing Maiden. You want to listen to lots of stuff and then you won't sound like you're imitating Maiden. You'll kind of generate all these different styles. And next thing you know, it'll help you create your own style.
I like that. I had a conversation one time several years ago with a vocalist. He was telling me his vocal coach said, pick someone that you like, but don't be that person. Just, use that as a jumping point to find your own voice.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many amazing musicians and singers and songs. And, I just soak it all in, whether it's something from the 70s, which is my favorite era, until recently, So, I mean, it just... there's a lot of great artists, and all of it can be inspirational to you as a musician. And, you don't want to imitate anybody. My biggest concern with myself is just trying not to kind of imitate myself. Like I'm trying to make sure that, I use that lyric. Oh, I don't want to do that again. Oh, that melody sounds a little similar to that one. So that's the struggle when you've written a lot of songs.
When you have a career that lengthy.
Yeah, you don't want to imitate yourself. That's a challenge, actually.
So what's going forward? We're obviously maybe going to get some more Armored Saint, and what else do you have planned?
Yeah, we want to do a Saint record. We're writing songs for that too. So I'm busy and doing that, trying to finish some tunes, and they're sounding great, sounding a little different than what Punching the Sky was, which was an amazing record. Really was. You always want to just kind of change things around a little bit. You don't always, get set in a style, and you want to
evolve,
keep evolve, and make the listener kind of follow you. So our aspirations are to get that out in 25, and probably be the latter part, realistically. We don't write too quickly, but there should be a little sense of urgency. Touring, playing some shows. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm trying to pack. I'm busy, so I'm plenty busy right now.
And how long? You mentioned you're about to be 60. How long are you going to do this?
I think that'll be determined by how well I can do it and the quality. And if I should be honest with myself. I always equate singers and drummers and guitar players a little bit as being athletes, because we really kind of are, especially in the world of rock and metal, because everybody's very active, and you're kind of like an athlete. And you need to know when your day is done. Probably, I really believe that, because they'll remain nameless, but I love a lot of artists that I think, you should.
There's one or two out there that it might be time to say goodbye,
Yeah, I mean, and your legacy lives on and will forever.
Always.
But, I think that's it. Can I do Rain of Fire when I'm 70? I don't know, man. That sounds pretty daunting, but,
We hope you can, though.
I hope I can. I mean, I look at Rob Halford, and Rob still sounds phenomenal.
I know, he does.
Dude. So Bruce Dickinson, again, he still sounds amazing. And I mean, I just went to see the Stones the other day, and, Mick is he's an alien. That's all I can say.
I agree.
On this earth. His activity is absolutely insane. He is playing SoFi Stadium and running around that stage. And I know what it's like to be a singer and to be, moving and breathing and singing. And it's hard. And I was just
well, you watch a lot of pop music. They have a hard time with that. They've got a lot of backing vocals to cover up for that fact. But Mick Jagger has been doing that, running around the stage his entire career.
Yes. And, it's amazing. The band, it sounds like just a band. They just still do just sound like a rock band. It's amazing. And, Keith and Ron, they're really amazing. But I mean, Mick Jagger is just on another planet as far as just what he can do and how well he can do it after all this time. And it's remarkable. It's phenomenal.
Well, hopefully you can too.
Hopefully I can too. We'll see.
It's all about maintenance, John. It's all about maintenance.
That's right. Take care of yourself.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Good luck on the tour. For those that are joining us late, there's a new single out from Armored Saint. It's a cover. It's called One Chain. It's actually incredible. And then he's got a new album from his new band, Category 7, dropping on Friday, July 26th. So good luck with all of this, John.
Thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate it. It was a great conversation. I love it. It was just like chatting, and that's the best kind of interviews.
Absolutely. Much appreciated. We should do it again.
Let's do it.
Thank you, John.
Awesome.